All right, so the fallout on all of this, if the president then goes as far as some say he will and set the stage for maybe down the road killing off NAFTA, could that just undo this entire rally to Turning Point USA founder, executive director Charlie Kirk, RealClearMarkets editor John Tamny? John, market guys typically worry about that sort of thing, think that trade wars are never good. They go back to Smoot-Hawley and the argument that that brought on the Great Depression in the 30s. What do you think?
They're absolutely right. This is a very irresponsible thing from Donald Trump. The simple truth is if we don't allow foreigners to sell to us, they will be unable to buy from us. If you go back to Smoot-Hawley, and that was a tariff on 20,000 plus goods, this led to a massive decline in U.S. exports from 5.2 billion in 1929 to 1.7 by 1932. And the reason for that, we shut ourselves off to the world. They shut themselves off to us. This is not a path you want to go down.
Charlie, what do you think?
Well, John, look, I'm a free trade guy, and I believe, in markets. But here's one thing the president has done that's rather effective, and I think he gets a bad rap for being an anti-free trade president. Let's look at what the new deal he negotiated with China in regards to cattle. For years, for whatever reason, the United States was not allowed to sell one of our greatest assets, which was U.S. grass-fed beef, and he completely lifted that restriction. So, look, free trade is not just being able to buy goods from other countries. It's also being able to sell our goods to other countries. And look, Korea, if you look at the tariffs that they've imposed on our products over the last 20 years, it's incomprehensible. So this is a negotiation tactic. Of course, we want to strive towards a market where we can sell our goods and buy goods freely and openly. But what the problem is these other countries have been imposing 30, 40, 50% tariffs on our products in their marketplace for far too long. This is a negotiation tactic, and I think appropriate retaliation for these unfair trade practices that have been enacted.
Well, I would hope it was limited to that, Charlie, but history teaches us, though, that the ones who get caught in the crossfire are average consumers, average Americans who are looking, let's say, at that LG washer or dryer from, South Korea being 50% more. And that, John, then invites all sorts of anger. What do you think?
Yeah, let's remember, why do we get up and go to work every day? We work because we want to import. It can be from across the street or the other side of the world. The imports are a reward for working, and so tariffs invariably penalize the worker. And so just because other countries want to injure themselves and injure their people by disallowing American goods doesn't mean that we should compound their error by doing something equally ridiculous.
But to Charlie's
in the
point,
United
John,
States.
if it's working for them and they're getting the better part of the deal, then we got to respond, don't we?
How is it working for them? We're the richest country in the world, and
but
we
China,
are precisely.
China exports more to anyone else, you know what I mean?
That's correct.
But the sole purpose of work is to import. We've got an average tariff of 1.4%. That's why we're a rich country. We take in the world's goods. That's why you work in the first place.
By the way, I didn't want to jump on you guys, but the president has effectively signed this, the idea to go after Chinese solar panel manufacturers and largely South Korean washer makers. LG, I assume, would be in there, but they say that this could extend. We'll be getting some comments from the White House shortly when that is sent to us. We'll share it. But Charlie, your point.
Yeah, and I do want to reiterate this, is that I think the discussion is always, one street when looking at what the president is doing. He has liberated so many markets so that U.S. goods and natural resources can be sold internationally. You look at the deal that he signed so that U.S.-based coal can be sold in Southeast Asia. So free trade, again, is not just being able to buy goods and services from other countries. It's being able to export our goods and services. And I would have a point of disagreement. We go to work, obviously, for fulfillment and be able to provide for our family and people around us, but you need to be able to sell your goods and services to be able to do that. When you have an untapped market of 1.5 billion people and the countries are not allowing our goods and services to penetrate that market, and President Trump has opened up those countries, that's something worthy of recognition. And you look at China, they steal our intellectual property, and they heavily subsidize these industries as well. The solar panel industry is heavily subsidized by the communist Chinese government, and all of a sudden we're supposed to compete against that? I don't think so.
Well, just be careful what you wish for, because it can come back to bite you. But we'll see. It's a little too early. Again, thank you, guys.